Cracks me up. I still get excited every time I see the countdown. I can't imagine what I would do if I was like actually on a television show and saw a countdown. I get excited when it's on Facebook Live. Crack myself up. All right. So this is a follow up to a Facebook reel or Instagram reel that I put out. That was actually a TikTok that I put out, and I'm not sure how I got it into a reel. That part, but anyways, some people, it just those things are like short and sweet. But I wanted to follow up with something, and my thoughts regarding relational leadership come from some things I've heard as I've associated myself in and amongst house church or micro church communities. They get accused of being non-organizational and willy-nilly, a bunch of rebellious, independent people that won't come under the direction of a church or whatever. And I was hearing that from a pretty prominent leader in the Christian world, and at the same time I was reading in the book of Exodus about Moses, and specifically when Jethro came and gave him advice about putting together a layered approach to judging, because Moses at the time was the only judge, and people would literally wait all day and often not even be gotten to, because Moses would show up in the morning, he would meet with God, and then he'd meet with the leaders and relay to the leaders what the Lord had spoken to him, and then answer all their questions and interact with them about whatever they were going through. And if there was time at the end of the day, then he would speak to the people and deal with that. And it says that he would hear, the phrase was, when he would hear the people, it means he literally would hear all sides of the situation. So it was not, he was very relational in his leadership style, but it also takes a ton of time. And Jethro was like, basically, let's get more leaders out there, not in a hierarchical sense, but in a community sense. And he gave them, in essence, 4 categories to look for men. And one of them was somebody who is accomplished, which means somebody who is self-motivated. Don't look for a lazy person. Somebody who's just going to get a job, and go through the motions. Somebody who fears God. So that would be somebody who is not susceptible to flattery. They don't have a fear of man. They are, flattery and bribery won't move them, because they rather be right with God than be liked by man. And then the third category was somebody who despises ill-gotten gain. And that's something that judges often would get, because they would have to rule or make regulations. And ill-gotten gain by judges were done by putting together policies that would favor the wealthy, so that when the judge needed help, the wealthy would help them, or they would get a kickback, as we would call it, or a piece of the property would become theirs, or the flocks, or the whatever it was. We would call that politicians now. Another whole story. We'll move on. And then the fourth category was technically somebody who had all three of those qualities, and those would just, the first quality would be over 10s. Those with the first and second quality would be over 50s. Those who had 3 qualities would be over hundreds, and those who had all 4 qualities would be over thousands. And my point not my point, but as I read this, I thought, you basically can't submit resumes for this job. Like, you can't just check off boxes and say, well, they went to the right school, they know the right people, they got good references, they deserve the job. But a hierarchical leadership, that is the way that it goes. And it's not that hierarchical leaders are evil, or they're not nice. They often are very nice people, and they often love God and love people. Like, I'm not against them, But I do believe the shift really needs to go back to a relational concept where there was a ton of conversation and lots of meetings in which every voice was heard and things were considered, and those who spoke didn't speak with a demand of you need to listen to me because my rights need to be it's my life, it's my feelings need to be the only thing that drives this. It was an understanding that hey, we're all in this together, and if our goal is this, let's consider all the perspectives so that we get the best production of moving forward as we can. So Moses, it says the oral tradition is that it took almost 9 months to a year to put together all of those leadership positions because you had to know people. Moses had to know these leaders. And more than just get a suggestion like, hey, I know a guy who'd be really good at this. It was, all right, well, let's meet them. Let's talk to them. Because they would be put in charge. They would be released to make judgments and covered by Moses. And if for some reason things weren't coming through, like they were just stumped, Moses was always available to be added to the conversation. Not, okay, we take all the tough stuff to Moses and Moses just makes the decision. They couldn't keep kicking it upstairs. It was meant that all those various judges, the tens, the 50s, the hundreds, the thousands, would be part of the conversation. And if they still couldn't come up with something, Moses would be added into the conversation. Most hierarchical mindsets would be like, well, if you guys can't figure it out, I'll make the decision. The executive board will make the decision. Or in most cases, the decision's already been made and you guys need to execute the decision. Your role in a hierarchical world is to execute the decisions and or make the vision happen. In a relational one, your role is to move the vision forward in community with connection. And it just takes more time. It's we had a very relational way of disciplining our children. And what that means is you spend a lot more time having conversations with them. And sometimes we found out that our kids would just do the right thing because they didn't want to have all the conversations that would come if they didn't. And I thought that was really funny. That not having conversations became a motivation to behave. They didn't want to have to explain why they did it. They'd rather just do the right thing. Why go into all? I don't want to have to answer the questions. I don't want mom and dad to have to talk to me. I'll just do the right thing. What else did I want to add in there? Oh, Moses was, there are those that would look at him and say, well, he was the leader. It's true, but he let other people lead. And I go to the Amalekites when they attacked Moses, the people of Israel. They were taking advantage of lots of things. It says Moses chose Joshua and he let Joshua pick the army. He let Joshua put together the strategy. The only thing Moses did was cover Joshua and encourage Joshua by being visually present at the battle, but he was not controlling what Joshua did. Joshua was not a proven military leader. Moses was. Joshua was not a proven strategist. Moses was. Moses could have stood on that mountaintop and sent messengers down saying, hey, flank this, pull this, attack here, withdraw from here. None of that. He's like, I'm just going to cover you. I'm just going to pray. I'm going to lift my hands so you can see that I'm covering you. Now, Moses's position did have an impact on the battle, which is true for all leadership. We do impact those that were around and who come alongside of us. But Moses showed incredible humility in that realm and in that role. And that's something else that relational leadership does. They are incredibly humble. They are not looking to be the one who leads to victory, like Moses could have. Moses could have said, listen, I'm going to put you in charge, but if we win, Like, I'm leading the army back to the camp because everybody needs to know who's in charge. Because if they think you're in charge, then that could really hurt us in the long run. We need to keep people focused on the goal of getting to the promised land. And if they think you're in charge, then they might start following you instead of me, and there'll just be a mess. So I'll tell you what, Moses, Joshua, you do the work and I'll take the credit, because that's the way this works. There's just no indication he did that. He was very humble, and he teaches us a lot. So I'm looking for all this will be in season 3 of the epic narrative, because that's the stuff I'm studying right now, and man, it is so good. Anyways, hope you guys having a good day. Those are my thoughts.